click here to subscribe our channel and do not forget to press the bell icon to get regular updates of our videos. Hello friends, good evening to all of you. I am back with another video on Sociology optional subject for UPSC CSE mains examination. In this video, we are going to see the topic of the untouchability, its forms and perspective under the caste system. So friend, please do these 3 hours. It will really motivate me to continue this awesome course. Share as much as possible so that more people will get benefited. Comment and like the video and ask any doubt if you have. And now you can also follow us on FB page, that is facebook.com/Unorthodox Academy. So friend, as you know that we are covering slot 3, stratification, caste and class, and in paper 1 we have finished the topic 5th, that is stratification mobility. In paper 2 we are currently covering the caste systems. We have covered perspective, features of caste system. In this video we are going to see the untouchability, its forms and perspective. So friend, first we understand what is untouchability. So basically untouchability is an extreme expression of social exclusion in which a touch of a person's belonging to a caste lead to impurification, and certain initiations were required to get back to the lost purity by taking bath or by chanting religious hymns and etc. So basically that word untouchability does not have any mention in the Hindu scriptures. It was basically coined by the Maharaja of Baroda while addressing the depressed class, and it is later popularized by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and this practice was there in all religious groups. A caste like Irawad had to maintain a distance of 36 yards, and a caste like Nayar had to maintain a distance of 12 yards from a Brahmin. So there were restrictions on water, food, intermarriages, etc. among the all castes, and all castes and jatis had a mutual exclusion. So however, in the case of certain jatis, this process acquired a very extensive forms, and these castes were referred to the depressed or exterior outclassed. So they are presently now called as Dalits. So our constitution outlawed untouchability by Untouchability Offences Act of 1955, yet since Hindus still deeply believe in impurity and pollution, practice of untouchability will not be completely uprooted, and it is still present in the social and religious life. So we can say untouchability may be understood from the 2 angles. The first angle is that the stigma attached to certain pupils because of the ceremonial pollutions they allegedly convey, and the second one is the sad practice which is engaged in the rest of society to protect itself from the pollution which is conveyed by the untouchables. And though many Dalits have given up traditional caste-based occupations, but still a good number is still engaged in it. A large number of regions suffer from an inbred inferiority complex which makes them sensitive, and the changes among the Dalits have now come through 3 avenues. The first one is that through the state policy in regard to untouchables groups that a state will make, and the second one is the reform movement at various periods of time, and the third one is the process of Sanskritization, which means imitating the values and norms of the upper caste or basically Brahmins, and then other thing is the westernization. So basically there are the 2 features which were observed about Dalits in the rural society, and the first one is that the most Dalits do not own their land or nor they were the tenants, and the most Dalits earn their income by working on land of others. So basically according to historical document, it is believed that untouchability developed among Hindu in the later Vedic age and was consolidated during the Gupta period. So now there are many theories which are present in sociology, but the most famous theory which is accepted one is the racial theory, and this theory says that the Aryans who were divided into 3 varna, that means Brahmin, Kshatriya and Vaishya, so basically they invaded the India and defeated the local inhabitants of India, and by including them they basically developed the Chaturvarna system, or we can say the 4 systems, in which Shudra have to do the menial jobs and polluted jobs like in scavenging, cleaning and etc. And they subsequently they force them to live at the outskirts of the settlement, preferably southward, because according to Hindu ideology the southward is considered to be as a polluted directions, and later to maintain their racial superiority they impose many restrictions and disadvantages to the untouchables. For example, in case of interactions they make sure they are getting back their purity through certain initiations, as I already discussed. So basically untouchables were imposed following restrictions in India. We see in the next slide. But before I am going to tell you about that. Aryans were initially divided into three varna: Brahmin, Kshatriya and Vaishya. And why they are called twice born? Because they have to do the Upnayan Sanskar, which is prevalent in that time. That's why they are known as twice born caste. So now we see the restriction. The first restriction is ban on temple entry, then using the public places, and they were also not allowed for education in school, restricted from purchasing property, restricted to participate in village festivals and other public occasions, and their settlements were far from the village. They were forced to pick polluted jobs. So basically during British period, Indian society came under Indian influence of many modern ideology like humanism, rationality, social justice, equality and etc. And untouchability was one of the core issue of social religious movement which are prevalent during the British time, and they were seriously taken up by Dalit leaders like the Jyotiba Phule, Narayan Gur, Ramaswamy Naikar, Dr. Ambedkar etc. And after the British too, and Gandhiji took the issue separately and called them Harijans, that is the son of God, and appealed upper caste not to practice the untouchability. And Islam as a religion does not accept untouchability. It believes in equality of all its believers. Even British brought egalitarian ideas to India, so they were not carrying notions of purity and pollutions with them because they have different ideology. Even under the Sufi saints, Bhakti tradition developed against untouchability, but there was no removal of untouchability because there was a study by Zarina Bhatti in UP where she says there is a strict restrictions even in Muslim villages. The reason is most of the Muslim and Christians in India are Hindu converts. So basically along with this rigid feudal hierarchy, it is still persisted in the villages. So the practice started by movements like Sufism, Bhaktism or Bhakti movement lost their appeal as social religious reforms movement and ended up as a separate sects. So basically during British rule, due to the idea of egalitarianism, anti-Brahmin movement developed. We can also say it as an Dalit movements, and there were a number of social movements like SNDP, that is Sri Narayan Dharma Pariplana movement, Mahar movement, Adi Dravid movement etc. And also Gandhi also launched Harijan movement. Even among upper caste reforms movement started. So now I am going to discuss about something about the Dalit movement. So the strategies, ideologies, approaches of Dalit movement were varied from leader to leader, place to place and time to time, and the Dalit consciousness came to the fore in different forms and shades. So thus some Dalit leaders followed the process of sensitizations, that mean imitating the properties of a higher caste. So thus Dalit leaders like Swami Thakkar, which is from Kerala, Pandit Sundar Lai Sagar from UP, Muldas Vaishya from Gujarat, Moon Vitthaba Rao G. Pandey from Maharashtra, and others tried to adopt established cultural norms and practices of the higher caste. So basically, imitations of high caste manners by Dalit was an assertion of their right to equality, and that Aryans or Brahmins who invaded this country forcefully imposed untouchability on the original inhabitants of this land. They believed that if Hinduism was discarded, untouchability would automatically came to end. That Dalit began to call themselves Adi Andhras in Andhra, Adi Karnataka in Karnataka, Adi Dravids in Tamil Nadu, Adi Hindus in UP, and Adi Dharmis in Punjab. So basically Dalit also followed the route of conversion with the purpose of getting rid of untouchability and to develop their moral and financial conditions. A good number of Dalits were converted to Christianity, especially in Kerala, and they are known as Mazhabis, Namdharis, Kabir Panthis and etc. And Dalit also got converted to Buddhism. Dr. Ambedkar converted to Buddhism along with his millions of followers at Nagpur in 1956, and a protest against Hinduism. Some of Dalit leaders founded their own sect or religion. Guru Ghasi Das from MP founded Satnami sect. Gurti Chand Thakur from Bengal founded Matua sect. Ayan Kali from Kerala founded SJPY, that is Sadhana Jana Paripalana Yogam, and Manguram from Punjab founded Adi Dharm. So attempts were also made to organize Dalits politically in order to fight against socio-economic problems. Dr. Ambedkar formed the Independent Labour Party in 1936. He tried to abolish the exploitative Khoti system prevailing in the Konkan part of Maharashtra and Veti or Maharaki system, of which free hereditary service to the caste Hindus in local administrations. And basically he tried to convince the government to recruit the Mahas in military, and ultimately he became successful in 1951 when the first Meher regiment was formed. So basically we can say that the Dalit movements were followed the 7 factors basically responsible for the modern Dalit movements, and they were the military service, Dalit reforms movement, Dalit education, conversion, missionary activities, Islamic revivalism, and the Hindu reforms. So after the death of Ambedkar too, there were certain movements or initiations. So basically immediately after Ambedkar death, certain important development took place in the Dalit movements, and one was the formation of Republican Party of India, and other was the formation of Dalit Panthir movement. So basically the Dalit Party of India replaced the All India Scheduled Caste Federation in 1957, and its founder was N. Sivaraj, who remained its president till 1964. So basically we can say that during British period and the onward, untouchability has always been considered a curse on the civilized society, and every possible measures have been adopted to abolish it. But due to the deep-rooted practices and some tolerance from the rural society, non-cooperations from the old age persons, illiteracy, etc. has always or have always blocked the process of abolition of untouchability. But after the independence, the issue was taken seriously and discussed in the Constitutional Assembly, and this will be reflected in our constitutions, and its article 17 of fundamental rights says the untouchability is abolished and its practice in any form is forbidden. The enforcement of any disability arising out of untouchability shall be an offense which is punishable in accordance with the law. There are some more fundamental rights such as article 15, which say the state shall not discriminate against any citizen or grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them. And there are article 16.2, which says there shall be equality of opportunity for all citizens in matter relating to employment and appointment to any office under the state. There are still some provisions also under the DPSP, for example article 14, which says the state shall promote with special care the educational and economic interests of the weaker section of the people, and in particular of the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes, and shall protect them from social injustice and all form of exploitation. So article 164 also said that provide that in the state of Bihar, MP and Orissa there shall be a minister in charge of tribal welfare, who may in addition be in charge of welfare of the scheduled castes and backward classes or any other work. So there is also a act which is said as the Untouchability Act of 1955, which was amended in 1976 as a Protection of Civil Rights Act, and under this law the onus of proof lies on the accused. So basically the efforts of abolition of untouchability can be put under two categories. The first one is preventive measure, and the second one are the promotional measures. In preventive measures there will be strict laws. In promotional measures we have to basically they involve the reservation, priority in welfare program and education. So then Ghanshyam Shah and Harsh Mundar and etc. conducted a survey on untouchability in 565 villages of 11 states and found that still there are 50% of Indian villages practicing some form of untouchability in the rural in India specifically, and this is published in their book, which is Untouchability in Rural India. So basically now we consider, or we are seeing three perspectives or basically views, or three different views regarding the problems of untouchability. And among sociologists broadly these three different views were existed. The first one is the views of Dumont and Michael Moffin function, and their views are called unity models. They say that untouchables are an integral part of Hindu society. In fact, they all share same ideology as Brahmins. Chamas and Bangis both are untouchables, but Even chamas does not touch a bhangi, that means toilet cleaners. So even untouchables constitute an important part of Hindu society as Brahmins or other castes. So only thing is that in the case of Dalits, exclusion is extreme. Even a menstruating Brahmin woman is treated as untouchable, but it is only temporarily exclusion. So they take a consensus view. And the second one is of Verman Kathleen-Koff and conflict view of John Mencher. So basically they said that Duman fails totally to recognize caste and for what it existed. So on an empirical level, caste system guaranteed differential access to valued things in life. For those who live in this caste system, reality is different. Deprivation is perpetual and cumulative. It is this dichotomy and exploitations or this nature of exploitations is need to be highlighted. And the caste system was an oppressive system. They think it should be outcast in any form it is present, and it is not unity but disunity, and outcasts are victims of exploitations. And according to them, caste system was a system of political and economic dominance, because as we seen that in the study that there are the Dalits that are present in rural India will not have any land, so they are economically deprived because of that, and so they take a conflict view of the caste. So now we see the third view, that is of view of Oliver Mendelssohn. So basically they neither take the consensus view nor conflict view, they take the diversity view, but they also highlight the contrast between untouchables and the upper caste. They say that untouchables, though part of same society, was suitably modified to serve the interest of the upper class. Even Bhangi practiced Hinduism. So however, now this system is undergoing change due to the social movements, or basically Dalit movements that we have seen, state actions that we have already seen, then economic growth because of the educations and the other initiatives of the governments. And at least in public sphere in urban areas, untouchability is vanished, but if we consider the private sphere in the urban areas, it is still present. So now the modern generation is quite aware of this evil custom, and it seems that in very new future it will be abolished from the Indian society. So thank you guys for listening and watching this video. Thank you.